I'm going to tell you guys today about a near-death experience that happened to me a couple years ago. The main things I'm going to drive home are the positives, what I learned from it, what I got out of it, and how it impacted my life and the new perspective I have. So I want to share a personal story that happened to me in 2016, specifically September 25th, 2016. I was working as a manager in a local trampoline park. I decided to go on break, so I went across the street to the local Starbucks. I sat down and I enjoyed my food and my coffee, and after I got done, I got ready to leave the actual building and go back to work. Right before I got up, another gentleman stood up and shot another man in cold blood about 10 feet in front of me. Right after that happened, he looked at everybody around. The first person he looked at was me. And after I almost defecated myself, I slowly went to the ground. I prayed to God. I was just hoping the moment would pass. Luckily enough, the gun broke. The gun broke or jammed. And in that moment, the man walked outside and left. I tried to revive the man. I tried to give him CPR, but he ended up passing away in my arms. So it's a little bit hard to tell you guys this story, but it's true. It did happen to me, and it is part of my life. These kinds of things and people like that are everywhere all the time. So just appreciate what you have, appreciate who you know that's in your life, love them to the fullest, forgive them, and try to be happy, because you never know when something like this will happen. I've debated for a long time whether or not I should really try to share this story with so many people or tell people about what happened that day, because a lot of lives were affected, and I have tremendous respect for people who are going through any kind of grieving. So with that in mind, there is a lesson to be learned from this ugliness. There is something beautiful inside of how bad that day was, that I felt a huge urge to tell everyone I know. Besides the fact that I believe God intervened in my life that day, there was some key lessons I learned directly thereafter and the months following and the years following that I want to share with you today. So I boiled it down to some of the main key points that I think you will hopefully find some use in and see how it could affect your life. One thing I know is that day I thought it was all over. I thought my life was done, and I really thought I was going to die. What that does to you mentally is it's like a reset button on the Nintendo, or it's just the lights cutting out. And when you go through that, you have to look at your life in a whole new way. You have a whole new perspective on everything around you. That being the case, there were some personal things that I had been dealing with, and this tragic incident gave me an opportunity to really examine my life and what I wanted to do with it. I'd never done it before. I kind of gone through life doing whatever I wanted to and not really caring about the consequences. That's just the truth. But what I will say is, one thing I found out was I thought I was a good person. I gave myself the label, I'm a good person. And by doing that, it absolved me of doing any kind of real work with the people in my life that were really close to me. I'm talking about family and friends, and doing right by them. And it could be, it's in multiple different ways, but the main point is that I gave myself a pass. And the problem with that is that it made me cover my eyes to the ugliest parts of myself. The things that I don't really like about me. And when you do that long enough, you begin to believe that that's reality. But the unfortunate but fortunate thing about an event like this happening in your life is it makes you see that you made all that up. And there's some things that you need to clean up about yourself. What this incident did was make me see the ugliest parts about myself, what I needed to change and what I really needed to work on, all the way from my past until present day. And instead of really shying away or trying to come up with an alternate reality, I embraced those ugly parts about myself. That led me to say, you know what? Okay, seeing this reality, no, this facade of a good person doesn't exist, but there is a positive, good challenge to become better, to be a great person. That's what I mainly took from this entire tragedy that I hope can reach out to one of you. Another thing that came from this incident was I was completely unaware of the relationships that I had around me and the people that I knew, and I was unaware of the state those relationships were in. Meaning, if people were really angry with me, if people didn't like what I was doing, if they were really happy with me, disappointed in me, I never took the time or considered how I was doing in those relationships and how those relationships could get better. So I used this as an opportunity to work on those relationships, to build those relationships little by little with small things like writing simple letters or changing my ways and my habits of talking to people, really starting from scratch. So that's why I believe this incident was very fortunate. One of the biggest takeaways I got from this was the realization that my gifts and talents were latent in me, and I never really worked on them or put them out there for the world to see. I've been told for years to hop in front of a camera, to say something on YouTube, to make a podcast, but I never did it. And it still took me a while, but I'm here now. By doing this and seeing the effect it has in other people's lives and how it makes them happier, makes them believe in themselves more. It's really powerful. And this process starts with that reset button, and then it goes into understanding the good and the bad, and then it goes into what exactly you can do to impact people's lives, because ultimately that's what life is about. That's what I got from this whole tragedy, and I hope that it means something to you. I hope that it changes you. I hope that you may have a friendship or relationship right now that you can work on and you can make better, and it'll make you and that person happier. There's a goal that you want to reach or something you want to attain that you've been scared to do for the longest time. Hopefully by me putting this mug in front of a camera, it'll help you go out and do whatever you got to do. As a group, as a unit, Wake Up and Win, Revived Brand Co., we built this for that purpose. For you to have a chance to live the life that you've always wanted to live. Not in a cheesy way or fake, but the real person that the whole world can see and be put on display to make everyone incredibly happy. Hopefully none of you ever have to go through a near-death experience. It is very harsh, and it definitely will leave you with some scars. But the good news for you is that we have opportunity here to share with you my near-death experience and some of the personal gains that I got from it and lessons that I learned. Hopefully it makes your life a little bit better. It helps you get more perspective on the things that are going around you and makes you a better person, because that's the goal of our company. That's why we're putting these videos together. So please like, subscribe, share, tell as many people as you can about what we're doing here at Revive Brand Co. And wake up and win.